This is a classic episode of the Watson Files from our first season. It's called The Dying Detective. It's also a classic Sherlock Holmes story, so you may recognize it if you're familiar with the good detective.
Alrighty. Strobe Studios presents Michael Helgens and Greg Kilberger in The Watson Files. Coming to you live from Uptown Bills in Iowa City, Iowa, this is Craig Dahlen. A century after Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson's adventures in London, their grandchildren Spencer Holmes and Jack Watson experienced their own adventures. And his grandfather did, Jack Watson often kept notes about these adventures and has decided to share them with the world. And now, let's join the doctor and see what story he has for us today.
Come in.
Well, good evening, Doctor.
Oh, hello, Mr. Dahlen. I was just enjoying a little music.
Yes, I hear that. Moonlight and Sonata, I believe.
You know your Beethoven. I was just getting into the mood for our story tonight. This song was the one Holmes used as a signal for... Oh, listen to me. I'm getting ahead of myself again, telling you the end before the beginning.
Well, Doctor, how does it begin then?
I was just finishing up my last appointment for the day. A woman had been in with a nasty cough. She had that flu that was going around. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do for it other than rest. But anyway, I remember I was just about to head home when my nurse took a call from Holmes. He had told her that he was deathly ill and needed my attention immediately.
Well, that doesn't sound very good.
No, certainly not. I rushed right over, of course. When I arrived, I found Holmes in bed. He appeared quite thin and sounded very weak. Holmes, I came as soon as I could.
No, Watson, don't come near.
Why?
It's highly contagious.
What is?
I've got Dupuytren's Humelica.
Dupuytren's Humelica? I've never heard of that before.
It's a rare Asian disease.
Well, I've been exposed to plenty of nasty things in my day. One more won't hurt.
No, Watson, I'm serious. Stay on the other side of the room.
But Holmes, I'm a doctor. I need to examine you.
No, you can examine me from over there just fine.
All right, fine. I can see from here that you are quite pale. Have you been eating?
Not much.
Well, you need to keep up your energy. Mrs. Jansen says you haven't eaten for days.
Mrs. Jansen talked to you?
Yes, I saw her in the hall on my way in here.
She worries too much.
Yes, well, she's not the only one. How on earth did this happen?
I must have caught it on vacation.
In Florida?
I spent a lot of time in the Keys. There are all kinds of strange creatures and disease-carrying bugs down there.
Let me make some calls and see what I can find out about this disease.
No, don't do that. There's only one man that can help me.
Okay, well, what's his name? I'll summon him immediately.
6 o'clock.
What?
I'll tell you at 6 o'clock.
Holmes, don't be ridiculous. We should call for help at once. You're obviously delirious from a fever or something.
Watson, if you want to help me, you'll do as I ask.
I refuse to stand by and watch you die. I'm going for help.
I can't let you do that.
Holmes, unlock the door.
No, not until 6 o'clock.
All right, fine. 6 o'clock, and not a minute later. How did you lock the door from your bed anyway?
It's a new remote control lock I designed.
I see. So at least you've been busy.
I do like to stay occupied.
Yes, I know. I see several new objects in the room here.
Watson, leave my things alone. You know I don't like people touching my stuff.
Come now, Holmes. If you're going to keep me trapped here, at least let me...
Watson, don't touch that.
Don't worry, I'll be careful.
No, I mean it. Leave that box alone.
Holmes, what's gotten into you? It's just a simple wooden music box. What could I possibly do to...
Watson, consider it a dying wish from an old friend.
All right, if it means that much to you.
Thank you.
I'll just sit over here in the corner and watch you die. But for the record, I think you're a fool.
Boy, Doctor, this sure is an unusual story. You and Holmes are not normally the ones who are dying. Now, that must have been quite a traumatic experience for you, sitting there helpless while your friend is near death.
Yes, Holmes did give us quite a fright that night.
Well, I think it's safe to assume that Holmes does not perish.
No, of course.
At 6 o'clock, you found the mystery man, and he cured Holmes?
Well, not exactly. I waited anxiously for over an hour until finally... All right, Holmes, it's 6 o'clock. Now, tell me who this mystery man is.
Okay, his name is Culverton Smith, and he lives at 13 Lower Beaver Drive.
All right, I'll get him immediately. But who is he, a doctor of some sort?
No, not a doctor. Well, let's just say he's an expert on this particular illness.
Okay, I'll be back with him shortly. Would you kindly open the door now?
Oh, yes, of course. My apologies.
Thank you.
Watson, wait. You should know that Mr. Smith doesn't particularly like me.
Why not?
Well, because I accused him of murder.
Murder?
Yes, when his nephew died last month, I mentioned to the police that he was a likely suspect, and he didn't really appreciate that.
Well, I should think not. I don't remember this case.
Yes, well, you were out of town at the time, and I was really only involved very briefly.
Okay, I'll be right back then.
Oh, Watson, one other thing. When you get Smith, return back here immediately. Do not wait for him to accompany you.
But why?
Just do as I ask, please.
All right, I'll be right back. Hang in there, old friend. What do you mean he won't see me? Didn't you tell him it's an emergency?
Yes, sir, but he says he doesn't know anyone named Watson.
Well, I'm sorry, but I really must speak with him. He may be able to save my friend's life.
Well, he's very busy, and I don't see how... Oh, where are you going? You can't just barge in here like this.
Mr. Smith! If you just give me a minute...
What is the meaning of this?
Sir, I've come at the request of Spencer Holmes.
Spencer Holmes?
Yes, he's very ill.
Really? Well, that's terrible.
He said you would be able to help and that you are some sort of expert on this disease. Please, sir, he's quite near death.
Yes, of course. I'll come at once. Anything I can do to help.
Thank you, sir. Now, I'm afraid I must go. I have another matter to attend to. Please do what you can for my friend.
I will.
All right, Holmes, I've done as you asked. Smith is on his way. Now, explain yourself.
Thank you, Watson. All will be revealed soon.
I must admit, Holmes, your actions today have been more than strange, even for you.
Yes, I know. Now, hide in the closet. Mr. Smith will be here soon.
The closet? Holmes, I don't see...
Just do it and don't come out until I say. You'll understand when he gets here. There he is. Hurry. Yes, come in. It's unlocked. Mr. Smith, thank you for coming.
I understand you've grown quite ill.
Yes, it seems I've contracted Dupuytren's Humilica.
Dupuytren's Humilica? Really? That's too bad.
Yes, as I recall, that is the same thing that killed your poor nephew.
As a matter of fact, it is. You probably caught it the same way, too.
What do you mean?
Let me make a deduction, Mr. Holmes, as you are so fond of doing. This small wooden box on your bureau here. You received it in the mail, did you not?
Yes, just a couple of days ago. It appears to be some sort of music box.
Yes, but I'm willing to guess it doesn't work. In fact, I'll bet when you opened it, one of the springs just jumped right out.
Why, yes, it certainly did. It cut my thumb pretty good, too. How'd you know that?
Mr. Holmes, surely you figured it out by now.
I'm afraid I'm not at my best, sir. In fact, I don't think I have much time left.
No, I should think not. And therefore, I'd like to make a confession. I sent the box.
What? Why would you do that?
I rigged the spring so it would cut you when you opened it. The sharp tip of the spring was infected with the unfortunate malady that afflicts you at the present.
You mean you purposely infected me with this?
Yes, just as I did my nephew.
Your nephew, I knew it. I told the police you were the one.
Yes, I know. Which is why you had to be eliminated. And if you don't mind, I'll take my box back now. Thank you very much. This looks like a good spot.
Good spot for what?
Watching you die, of course.
Well, then I hope you don't mind if I turn on a little music. I'd like to die happy.
No, not at all. I rather enjoy Beethoven.
Holmes, is everything all right?
Arrest this man, officer.
For what?
Murder.
Who did he kill?
His nephew, and he tried to kill me.
What? This is ridiculous. You have no proof.
You just confessed.
Your word against mine. It'll never hold up.
Doctor, you can come out now.
It's all true, officer. I heard everything.
That sounds like corroborating testimony. Looks like you're under arrest. Culverton Smith, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Thank you, Watson.
You're not really sick, are you?
No, of course not.
Why didn't you tell me?
I wanted you to be sincere when you went to get Smith.
I could have acted.
No, I've seen you act.
What's that supposed to mean?
No, nothing. Let's get something to eat. I'm starving.
You do look rather thin.
Yes. Well, I'm supposed to look sick, remember? I had to make it believable.
Yes, well, you were very convincible from across the room, though I'm sure if I had a chance to do a proper examination...
Oh, yes, I would have been found out, hence the talk about diseases being contagious and whatnot.
So, Smith really did send you that box intending to infect you, didn't he?
Yes, that's how I knew he killed his nephew.
So how did you avoid getting cut by the spring?
As you know, Watson, I have many enemies and people who wish me ill will, so I'm accustomed to carefully inspecting all my mail before opening.
I see.
Now, about that food. You're coming, I'm buying.
I knew Holmes wasn't going to die.
Yes, but at the time I was convinced it was real.
I imagine you were. It sounds like you did a good job of acting.
He always does.
And what was the reason for the music?
Ah, well, Holmes explained it to me over dinner that it was the indicator for the police to enter the room.
Oh yes, of course. Very clever.
Indeed.
Well, that was an exciting story. I can't wait to hear what you'll have for us next time.
I'm sure you will not be disappointed, Craig.
I have no doubt. Tonight's Watson Files adventure was written by Scott Strosahl and based on an original story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Spencer Holmes and Dr. Watson were played by Michael Helgens and Greg Kilberger. Additional voices were performed by Steve Rimpici and Scott Strosahl. This is Craig Dahlen for Strobe Studios saying good night from Uptown Bills.